Hello YouTube! Today I want to show you how to use Docker Hub Auto Build to automatically build multiple images defined in the same GitHub repository. If you're looking to set up a build automation for your containers, you'll find Docker Hub is a simple and effective tool. So let's set up a container build together. For the sake of demonstration, I have created this Ubuntu demo repository in my GitHub account, and it contains two folders, respectively for Ubuntu releases Bionic and Xenial. Each folder contains a very simple Dockerfile to customize the Ubuntu base image with additional packages for my everyday use. So with every new commit in my GitHub repository, we want Docker Hub to do the following. Run a Docker build for the Dockerfile under the Xenial directory, and push the generated image into the registry with the Xenial and 16.04 tags. Same for the Dockerfile under the Bionic folder, should be built and tagged as Bionic and 1804. Lastly, being the most recent Ubuntu distribution, we also want to tag the Bionic build as latest as our default image for the Ubuntu demo repository. We can now head over to hub.docker.com to create a repository for our build and connect the GitHub account. First thing you want to do is make sure Docker Hub can access your GitHub repositories. Go to Account Settings, Linked Accounts, and under the GitHub section, click Connect. You'll then need to grant Docker Hub Builder access to your repositories, and if the linking is successful, you should see that your GitHub account now shows as connected. Next, navigate into Repositories and click Create Repository. We now give it a name, Docker Demo in this case, and provide a short description. You can make this repo publicly visible or private. For this tutorial, I'm going to make it private. You can see I have a one private repository limit in my account, but as of today, you can create as many public repositories on Docker Hub for free. In Build Settings, click the GitHub account and select the repository you want to configure the automated build for. We now need to add some build rules. Once the auto build is fully configured, Docker Hub will monitor your GitHub repository for changes and validate it against a set of rules to decide what jobs to run. You can tell Docker Hub to automatically build your images when new changes are committed into a specific branch or when new tags are created. For this test, we need to create two build rules, one for each Docker file. Click the plus icon to add a new rule. We'll build from the branch called master. We want the Docker tag for this image to be Xenial, and the Dockerfile location is Xenial/Dockerfile. We leave the build caching enabled, so if the Dockerfile isn't changed, Docker Engine can use cached image layers for a faster build. You can disable this cache if your container needs to download all external dependencies on every build, otherwise I suggest you keep it enabled. For our second image, we build again from the master branch, and this time the image tag will be Bionic, and our Dockerfile location is Bionic/Dockerfile. Have a look at the examples in the page. You can use an exact match to only trigger builds on specific branches, or use regular expressions to match patterns on branches and tags names. You can then label your Docker images using source_ref to replace the whole name of the source in GitHub, or if you need more control, use the regex group capturing. Final step, click Create and Build. Docker Hub will now trigger two builds for every new commit we push into the master branch on GitHub. After a few minutes, we can refresh the page and see that two new images are available in our repository, just as we configured. We said we wanted to have more than one tag for every Docker file, and even mark the Bionic build as latest for the repo. Even though you could just add another few build triggers to your configuration and build the same Docker file multiple times, it is far from ideal. Every generated container tag is identified in the registry with a unique hash. When you use the docker pull command to download images into your client, what you are in fact doing is referencing a specific image layer identified by this digest. So if the latest and Bionic tags are in effect the same image, you want to build it just once, By referencing the same image with multiple tags, we can save disk space in our registry and also transfer less data over the network when we go about running those images. To do so, we can take advantage of Docker Hub build hooks. A build hook is as simple as a shell script in your GitHub repository, placed in the hooks directory next to your Docker file. There are many hooks you can use with your build, and you can read more about them in the Docker documentation. I'll link the page in the video description below. There are so many possibilities with build hooks, I might even consider creating a deep dive tutorial in the future. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you want to be notified when new videos are published. I'm now going to create a post-push hook in my GitHub repository to tag the Bionic image as 1804 and latest after a successful build. I will first create a new directory called hooks next to my Docker file, change into the directory, and create a new file called post_push. This is going to be a bash file, so we start with a shebang, and for the tags 1804 and latest, we run the following commands: docker tag, image name, docker repo :tag, and docker push, docker repo :tag. The variables image name and docker repo are provided in the build context. Check out the documentation page linked below to see the full list of variables available to you. This very simple script we just created will perform a docker tag docker push for every additional label we need on the Bionic container image. The location of this file is important, so make sure it's inside a directory called hooks in the same location as your Docker file. Now let's save the file, commit into our repository, and head over to Docker Hub to see the magic happen. Docker Hub picked up our changes from the master branch and triggered more builds. Once finished, let's check the tags available, and we can see the same image digest is now referenced as Bionic, 1804, and latest. I really hope this tutorial helped you get started with Docker Hub builds. If that's the case, I would really appreciate your support with a like and a comment down below. Of course, if you have any question, I am happy to help. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to be the first to know when new content is available, and I will see you in the next video.